US Embassy and the EU delegation in Albania both issued separate statements regarding tomorrow's protest, calling on the opposition leaders to ensure violence is not encouraged or incited during the demonstration. The head of the opposition paid a visit to Durrës today, from where he accused the DP and SMI MPs who accepted mandates as having been sold like livestock, before inviting the students of the University of Durrës to join tomorrow's protest. On an official visit to Albania, the Foreign Minister of the Czech Republic promised a positive vote from his country in regards to Albania's EU integration and vowed to lobby the sceptical countries on Albania's behalf. Good evening, it's 6 o'clock on Friday the 15th of March 2019. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country translated into English. A day before the opposition protest in front of the Prime Ministry, the US Embassy and the EU delegation in Tirana, through notification to the media, have issued calls for the demonstration to remain peaceful. The United States and the European Union reminded the opposition leaders that inciting violence and promoting the destruction of public property is illegal. Among other things, the international headquarters reconfirmed their support for the Parliament and the government, while reminding the former MPs not to hinder the country's future. While peaceful protest is a fundamental pillar of democracy, inciting or committing acts of violence, including the destruction of public property, is unlawful. We urge all stakeholders in Albania's democracy to practice restraint during the upcoming March 16 protest. The United States Embassy views the current government and Parliament of Albania as legitimately elected through the internationally recognised elections of 2017. As those former members of Parliament who decided to resign from their mandates have relinquished their obligations to the citizens of Albania, they should allow those willing to work for the future of the country to do their jobs. We support all those who continue to be engaged in the democratic process in the Parliament in order to keep Albania moving towards EU accession, read the declaration from the US Embassy in Tirana. The EU delegation office in Tirana considers it necessary to create a national platform to emerge from this crisis that poses a threat to the country's integration. The decision to relinquish parliamentary mandates seriously hinders the functioning of democracy in Albania, and it affects the EU integration of the country. Joining the EU is a perspective fully shared by 93% of Albanian citizens. It is now very urgent to overcome the political situation currently by establishing a national platform of dialogue among all parties concerned, also in view of the incoming June municipal elections, stated the EU delegation. The EU has asked the political parties for a cross-party dialogue on the most urgent reforms, including reforming the electoral framework under the lines of the OSCE ODIHR recommendations. On the eve of the opposition protest, which will take place in front of the Prime Ministry tomorrow, the Democratic Party chair, Lulzim Basha, paid a visit to the town of Durrës. In a meeting with the students of the University of Durrës, he referred to the MPs who accepted their mandates as sold just like livestock and are now even collaborators with crime. Is there a clearer sign of the degradation of this power other than the selling of these so-called new opposition MPs like livestock? The provocation of using these miserable people will receive the deserved response from the citizens and the opposition, starting on Saturday with the protest that will take place in Tirana, stressed Basha. Discussing the accusation of vote buying, Basha reiterated his position that the mayor of Durrës should be arrested. Vanjush Darko gets rich at the expense of the citizens of Durrës. Darko has destroyed cultural heritage. He should be arrested, accused Basha. As well as inviting youth to become part of the protest, he added that he appreciates the professors who supported the student protest. I invite you all to join together to show the world that the time of this country being ruled by a man related to criminals is over. Albanians have decided to take their fate into their own hands and will not turn back until the victory of the citizens, called Basha. During the meeting, Basha stressed again that the opposition will not back down from their decision to withdraw from their mandates, pushing for early elections without Rama as the head of the government. The Foreign Minister for the Czech Republic, Tomáš Petříček, who is on an official visit to Albania, has promised the vote of his country, as well as vowing to lobby countries of Central Europe to launch accession talks with Albania and the European Union. This was announced today in a statement released by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs following a meeting between the acting Foreign Minister of Albania, Gen Sarkaj, and his Czech counterpart. The The political situation in the country and the elections in the European Parliament do not bode well for Albania in regards to the June decision. In a joint press conference with Sarkaj, the Czech foreign minister voiced his country's readiness to negotiate with France, one of the sceptical countries, to secure a pro-Albania vote to open negotiations. Albania has undertaken a number of reforms, especially in the judiciary. The tasks we have assigned for Albania have largely been accomplished, and therefore the conditions for opening negotiations have been met. I will go to France in April and I will discuss with my French partner. I want to create a positive atmosphere in order to pave the way for a positive decision for the opening of negotiations, said Petrusek. Acting Minister for Europe and Foreign Affairs, Gen Sarkaj, said that despite the fact that the elections in the European Parliament may cause a delay in the progress report for Albania being published until autumn, the country should continue to fulfil its tasks. Recently, there has been talk of exhaustion from the enlargement, but this does not mean the exhaustion of the people of Albania nor its institutions, which will continue with reforms. It is important for us to continue the positive reform agenda and to remain hopeful that the European Union member states will respond positively to the progress of Albania during this period. We remain the most pro-European community in the region, said Sarkaj. Meanwhile, the sea agreement between Tirana and Athens has been suspended and there is still no date when negotiations will resume. North Macedonia and Albania are expected to be discussed as a package during the meeting that EU foreign ministers will hold in June. Miners who have long been seeking the approval of their special status continue to face difficulties in the realisation of this process. They blame the Infrastructure and Energy Minister, Belinda Baluku, who, according to them, is delaying the process. About 6,000 miners remain hostage to the approval of this status. According to them, Baluku is not performing her duty as required. For this reason, they took to protesting today in front of the Social Insurance Institute to demand the process move forward. In addition to special financial treatment, the mining status allows miners to also benefit from health and social services with the aim of reintegration following their service to the mining industry. However, the receipt of these rights has faced continual delays. The current farm at the Agricultural University of Tirana will be turned into a practical research centre for students and agricultural specialists. €1 million is the fund granted by the government, with Prime Minister Edi Rama saying that the investment is being realised as a part of the University Pact. Things are headed in the right direction, thanks to the student protest that gave a very strong push in transforming university infrastructure, stated Prime Minister Rama. The head of the government said that the farm would serve for the practical elements for students, but also as a source of income for the university. This will create a model for other universities to find alternative ways to make them more profitable, explained Rama. The Dean of the university explained the importance of the project in student preparation as well as rural development. The experimental didactic farm exists physically today, but it is not in the role it should be. Ongoing, the farm will be a centre of experiments and scientific training, added the Dean. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Ledi Chuchi, also commented on the new implementation of the farm, stating, "I believe it is the most sustainable foundation stone between the Ministry of Agriculture and the Agricultural University." In addition to its other benefits, the €1 million investment also aims at making the farm become a popular tourist attraction for the city of Tirana. Kidney disease is on the rise, with about 10% of the Albanian population estimated to be suffering from such afflictions. Nephrologists consider it a growing epidemic amongst the population, and even more concerning is the increase in cases of kidney disease striking young people. Doctors encourage regular checkups to be conducted for all citizens and stress that individuals should not neglect any symptoms. Worldwide, 850 million people are believed to be suffering from kidney disease arising from various causes, resulting in approximately 2.4 million deaths per year, making it the 6th most common cause of death around the globe. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join us again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.